Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to this edition of SportsView on nearmedia.tv. The usual, our contact number and email is along the scroll there. You can see it going along the bottom on our strip line. And also press the red button on the right-hand side to subscribe to our channel. Hi, Joe. How's it going?
It's going well, Pat. How are you?
I'm very well now, and a lot of sport over the weekend. And
Yes.
we'll be looking at the Premiership, and we'll be looking at, if we get a chance, golf, Formula One, and tennis. The US Open started today, and so it's the last of the majors in tennis of the year. And the usual suspects are involved in it, both women and men, but we'll talk about that later on. But I suppose that we'll start away at the Premiership. There were wins in the Premiership for Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City, Brighton, Chelsea, West Ham, Fulham, Spurs, and Forest, which means that half the teams in the Premiership won, which also means half the teams lost. And I saw the Man United game, all of the Man United game, Joe. And I mean, I must say they were unlucky. Unlucky. They deserved the result, and I think they may feel that they could have got all 3 points, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. You must play till the final whistle, as the old saying goes, you know?
Well, and that's the reality of it, you know. I mean, there was a little bit of controversy. The Garnacho goal that was disallowed.
Yeah.
But, you know, having said that, though, you know, you're in the 95th and 97th when Brighton scored. But there were 2 guys at the back post totally alone. I mean, that is just disgraceful for a Premier League team to be caught like that.
Yeah.
Especially away from home that late in the game, you know. And, I mean, the guy could have sat down, had a cup of tea and still put it in the back of the net. So it was disappointing from that standpoint. But they look better, you know, So it'll be a good season.
A few things struck me during the game, and as I say, I must put my hand up. I'm no expert in soccer, and I don't have to let some people anyway. But I like it. I like the game. I like watching it and all. But I'm struck by the fact that I wonder what Casemiro and Rashford were doing on the field.
Yeah. I thought Casemiro was really
shocking.
Yeah, he was poor last week, I thought, as well. He just looks like he's completely lost his confidence. You know, it's disappointing. But Marcus Rashford, I really don't know something's got into his head, and he just doesn't seem like he's interested in the game at all.
And we spoke about it before. Well, he's not a young player. He's an experienced player, and he's been around soccer a long time. And as Roy Keane often said, if you're a professional player, you act in a professional manner, and you play for the team and yourself and all of that. Now, Rashford and Casemiro, the two of them, to me, really, I think. I think Ten Hag had a good honeymoon period with Man United, but some of the blame, if not all of it, some of the blame is down to his management style and management of the team.
Well, I mean, it's it's really hard to be critical of him. I mean, Brighton are a very good team.
They are.
I watched them. I've been very impressed with them. I watched them against Everton last week, and they were absolutely outstanding in that. The football they play is brilliant, very entertaining. So, I mean, this is not like a walkover game anymore. This is a tough game of football for anybody that's going to be playing them. So, you know, I just think that sometimes you try to baby players through tough times, and sometimes it bites you, and then other times, you know, it works. So I think it's early days yet to be, you know, having a go at him about that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think, I think that like we were talking last week, I meant to say it, but I didn't. All this early season stuff is all well and good, but really, it's going to be about Christmas time when we start finding out
true.
how the cards are going to fall and what have you, and we'll have a much better picture of what the teams are going to be like by then. Um, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens with both Casemiro and Marcus Rashford in the next few weeks.
Well, you're right. There's only 3 games gone, and there's 36 more. But the two teams that impressed me over the weekend on the personal level were Arsenal and Chelsea. And I think that, okay, we spoke about it before. Chelsea has a big squad, but I'm convinced after 2 games that as soon as the manager can settle on his best 11 out of what he has, there's fantastic potential there. They play the team that was on the field for Chelsea at the end, the finish of the game, were just terrific in my mind. They played terrific soccer.
Oh, they did. I mean, they were, uh, especially the second half, they were
Yeah,
outstanding. They were outstanding in the second half. Every time they attacked, they looked like they could score.
yeah,
And
that's a good sign.
it's a great sign, and you know,
Palmer's goal was just
yes,
genius.
and he's 3 assists.
Oh,
You
and
know, I mean,
and his goal was
yeah,
just
yeah. So they were, yeah. I mean, no, to be honest, Wolves didn't help themselves,
no, they did not.
and too many of the goals came down Chelsea's right hand side, Wolves' left hand side, and they didn't adjust to that. So it was disappointing from that standpoint. But it's very very hard to
And at the
blame
at
Wolves and not recognise
yeah,
Chelsea for how good they were.
and at the start of the season, a lot of pundits had Aston Villa tipped to get a top 4 finish, but Arsenal are the real deal.
Arsenal are very good, but so are Villa. I mean, they won the game 2-0, Arsenal, but the game could have been tied just as easily.
Uh-huh.
Ollie Watkins missed two silly.
Oh, well, Watkins missed a goal that you wouldn't see in a
Oh, yeah.
June. Oh, it was just
Yeah,
horrific.
but I mean, both teams played great stuff. Martinez could have done, the goalkeeper could have done better with Partey's goal. He got a hand to it, and it should have been, he should have saved it. A player of his quality should be saving that. But
and
but Arsenal do look good though. They played some nice football. They really did.
and I was out in the car when the Man City Ipswich match was on, and when Ipswich were ahead, God, cheapers. I said, I know how long will that last for, but Man
Not
City,
very long.
yeah, not very long. Man City are just too good for
Yeah.
for teams like that, anyway.
And that that's the reality of it. I mean, there's going to be better teams than Ipswich are going to find themselves on the end of a 4-1 at the Etihad this
Yeah,
season. So these are not the games that really Ipswich have had very tough baptism back in the Premier League. Uh, Liverpool last week and Man City this week.
well,
You know,
yeah. I mean, they are teams that they won't be meeting for 20 or 30 games.
and
You know,
that's the thing with it. So they're really, we talked about this before. They're looking at the likes of the Nottingham Forests and teams like that being around them, Bournemouth, and getting points from them in the hope that they'll be able to stay in the Premiership.
I see Pep speaking to the press. He's looking at the hearings about Man City's situation are being held this week sometime, and Pep Guardiola was saying he's looking forward to them. I wonder, does he know something that we don't know, Joe, at this stage, even though the hearings haven't been held since?
Right. I don't know that if if he knows anything that we don't know. But I mean, his statement was that we're prepared to accept whatever the outcome is, whether it's
Yeah.
you know whether it's relegation or whatever it is. So he seems he seems pretty confident. I think that there's
Nothing will happen.
not too much going to happen anyway.
No,
Like,
no, it's shocking. If that is the outcome, well then, you know. Anyway, we'll have to wait and see. Up in Scotland, the two team premierships, Rangers and Celtic, they both won, as I call it, the two team premiership up in Scotland. With respect and apologies to all the other teams.
yeah. Well,
Uh,
Aberdeen joined top with Celtic on 9 points. So it's there may be somebody breaking into the two-team league.
you'd never know. You'd
You
never
know?
know. But Wrexham, I see, had a 3-0 win over Reading, who are a seasoned outfit. Reading are, and
Yeah,
a long
yeah.
established championship, and they've been up in the Premiership. So just a good win for Wrexham. I see Preston beat my team, Luton, who are at the bottom. They really, really have lost a few players, and they can't seem to get out of it. I saw a lot of the Plymouth Argyle match with Wayne Rooney. They got a credible draw over the weekend. That's Plymouth Argyle. So it's a tough baptism for him after coming up from the second division, as you know, coming up from the second to first division. It's a leap. It's a leap for a lot of teams. But
Oh yeah,
they held their own anyway. And that was a nice game of soccer. I didn't see the whole lot of it, but I saw a lot of it. So it looked all right. We
yeah,
must just before I came on air, Joe. Um, we heard the news of Sven Goran Eriksson, who has just passed away from pancreatic cancer in which he was diagnosed with back in last January. And I know that about 2 weeks ago, a load of quite a few English players flew over to see him, to say their goodbyes to him. And there was a lovely tribute to him by or Peter Crouch, whom he capped, who gave his first cap to Peter Crouch, English cap to.
yeah.
And he was a very successful manager, both club and the countries he was at, and he was well respected as well. And he was
Yeah, he was.
seven, yeah,
Yeah, he was. I mean, he had success practically everywhere he had been. Uh,
he had,
yeah,
he,
he started. I mean, he played the game, but he was mostly an amateur, I think, when he played,
yeah,
and then he he had to finish early because of injury. And the irony of it was that he became an assistant coach with Todd Grip, who was his assistant coach for years afterwards, especially with England and some of the
yeah,
other jobs that he had.
yeah.
Uh, so yeah, but I mean, he had success everywhere. He had success at
He did,
Gothenburg.
he did very well with England. I know they didn't win any trophy, but he did very well with them.
Yes,
You
he
know,
did. Yeah, I mean, they got what? They were in the quarterfinal, what, in three tournaments?
yeah, he
Yeah,
did.
went out in penalties in two of them. So
Yeah, he did well with them, all right.
yeah, yeah,
And it's always sad. I mean, he was 76. He was still a young man, fit man, but that's the way that awful disease hits people.
yes,
And
it is. Yeah, it is. And it was interesting to read. David Beckham was uh, had an article about him this morning, and you know, Bex went to visit him, and he said, "Yeah," he said it was, he said it was fun. He said, but it was sad. We laughed and we cried. But he said, we had a great visit, and he was, you know, no one likes to be in that situation, but he
no,
didn't, So, but yeah, I loved um, Sven's quote that he got to Man City a year too early because Sheikh Mansour took over the next year after he.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, he could have won another league championship
I
there.
was there too early. Yeah, it's just funny,
Yeah,
man. All right.
yeah,
Well traveled, a nice man by all accounts, and yesterday go over on him.
Yeah.
Sven Goran Eriksson, another good one gone to that great
Yes.
football pitch in the sky. But he's fond memories for a lot of people anyway, you know. But the as we said, we're only 2 or 3 games in the Premiership, but we can't make any predictions. So we're not going to make any either, you know. Our team that a team that I adopted last year from the second division in Scotland. For people who might have missed that gem, Bonnie Rig Rose. There you are now. Bonnie Rig Rose. I'll tell you, they have a beautiful website and they have a lovely Facebook page if you want to go on it. They won their latest home match to Clyde by 2-1. And there's an incredible sense of community up there in that part of Scotland. And who knows, we might make a pilgrimage up there someday to see Bonnie Rig playing. But typical. I mean, very good. It's very good. If anybody who's interested in soccer, go onto their Facebook page. If you get a chance, you'll have a good laugh at some of the characters on it. You know, but it's just something. It's the name. The name, I suppose. What's the word I'm looking for? The name appealed to me, and of course we had the connection with Sean Connery, who played for him one time. You know, so that's Bonnie Rick Rose. SportsView is the program on LittleMedia.tv. Press the red button on the right hand side to subscribe to our channel, and it's free of charge. And we appreciate it. We appreciate the numbers for the show as well that have gone way up, and who are viewing the show. And thanks to everybody that takes the time out to listen to us rambling along here for an hour or so every Monday night. It's very much appreciated. Joe, the US Open tennis began today with a big cloud over it.
Right.
If any player in any sport had failed a drugs test, not once but twice, I think any organization worth their salt, there'd be a ban of some sort. Yannick Sinner failed a drugs test on the 10th of March, and he failed a drugs test on the 18th of March for a steroid that increases muscle mass. That's one of the uses of it. Now, that's one side of the coin. The other side of the coin, for people who may not know about it, I'm not going to go into it all here. The explanation of how he came to having his system is something out of was it Hans Christian Andersen was the famous fairy tale writer.
Yeah.
He wrote fairy tales. I think they made Hans Christian Andersen very proud of them. The explanation they gave, in my opinion. I'm not saying he's intentionally guilty of doping, but the explanation is one to be astonishing, in my opinion. You know, I don't know what to say about it.
What was the explanation for that one?
Well, his physio masseuse cut his finger. Okay, boom.
Yeah.
And he had a spray in his bag, apparently, and he sprayed the cut. Incidentally, the spray he used would never have been used to treat a cut. But anyway, cut it. Then after that, Sinner was getting a massage from him with a cut finger and no gloves. The spray that he used went on his skin and was absorbed into his system. I don't know about you, Joe, but it's like something you do after the pub closed late at night, something that you'd never do when you're sober.
Well, I mean, I was reading about some of them. You know, there was one where the cocaine kiss. Somebody had cocaine, tested positive for cocaine. He said, "Yeah, that my girlfriend had took it, and I didn't realize, and I kissed her, and that's how I got it on me." So, you know, I find it really interesting that some sport, and athletics is another one.
Athletics is very bad, yeah.
Is the same. I don't know if you can remember, but Rio Ferdinand missed a drugs test,
He did.
and he got banned for 6 months just for missing it.
Yes.
And these people, I'm reading in the paper last week that there is a coach that coaches a lot of these top class athletes, African athletes, and when they're in training camp, they book two hotels, right? And when the athletes are called and told that they have to, they're coming to the hotel for a drug,
Testing. Yeah.
then if they've had the intake of whatever it is that they're being given, then they're stay at the other hotel. And when they show up at the hotel, they're not there, so they can't be tested.
No.
And no one knows about the second hotel, right? And
No.
then if they haven't taken it, then they're at the hotel.
And
So
yeah.
it just to me it seems ridiculous that
Well, it's just emerging now that some of the Bahrain athletes missed their drug. Some of them missed their drug testing program uh, before the Olympics, yet they were allowed to compete.
yeah,
I mean, really, there's a lot of anomalies, but I think the World Anti-Doping Agency, if they want to keep credibility, they should investigate the Yannick Sinner situation because it puts a cloud over. And when he failed those two drugs tests in March, since then he's won
right.
two tournaments, and I was wondering he beat TFO in the final of the Cincinnati Masters, just the last tournament before the US Open, and I was watching it, and I was wondering when he was accepting his trophy, TFO ran out in front of him, put up his middle finger, and ran off again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was wondering what all that was about because it didn't come out till after that. The news of the two dope failures didn't come out, but he knew, and
Yeah,
people in tennis would know. And
yeah,
we were looking back at that after.
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, the only way you'll get anything done, say in tennis, is players refuse to play him. Just refuse point blank.
yeah, yeah.
You know, as simple as that. It's as simple as that. I
But I
don't
mean,
know.
but the governing bodies have to they have to grow up here and start knocking these people out and say, no, you can't. No, you're banned, and that's it. And
You
they take it to whatever appeals process they go to.
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, what they did to Novak Djokovic in Australia was appalling,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and he never failed a drugs test.
No, no.
And what they did to him in Australia were appalling. And the tennis authorities should hang their head in shame to leave that happen to any athlete.
Yeah,
Any athlete to be treated like that was just simply um, inhuman, in
right.
my opinion.
Yeah,
But it's a testament of the character of the man that he went back the year after and won it.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, that was just fantastic. But it's just like the Man City now. Everybody, I think there'll be some sanction taken because there's such an outrage over this in Man City. That there isn't any choice left but to take some action because so many other clubs have paid the penalty of points deduction, etc. In the game that they have to do something, in my opinion. But we don't know, Joe.
Well, I mean, the thing is, you would hope so. I mean, we all want it to be a level playing field,
Yeah,
right? Right. And we know realistically it's not because throughout time we know that there's people that cheated, and
that's true.
so it never and the real guilty ones never seem to get punished for it.
No, no, you don't.
And,
No.
it just leaves a bad taste for any of it. So it just seems that I mean, even here, the US, you got two guys that beat Lou Gehrig's home run uh, record, and
Yeah,
both of them are juiced up,
go
and
away.
everyone knew it. Yeah, and there's an asterisk. I don't even know if there's an asterisk by the side of it. When Lou Gehrig uh,
Beat the record.
beat the record, there was an asterisk by his name because he played more games than the previous holder.
All
Right.
right.
So he gets an asterisk by his name for just
And
because
then,
of more games.
and his record was broken in turning in, was it?
Yeah, his record was then broken by um,
Chemical means.
Boyer and Sammy Sosa, and both of them admitted afterwards that they were juiced. But it's what saved baseball at the time was the two of them going neck and neck for the home
Yeah,
run
yeah.
title, and it caused great, there was great interest in the game and got it back out of a
The
little bit.
Dolphins.
Yeah, that it was in.
And were they banned?
No, I don't think so. I don't recall. I don't recall that part of it. I know that some people got banged for stuff. What's his name? I think Barry Bonds got something afterwards. So, but it just seems, that it's just not right. I mean,
No, I mean baseball. I used to watch it until my son told me about this film, and I watched it, Moneyball,
oh yeah,
and
yeah,
that really turned me on to baseball because it was the game itself. You get an understanding of the game in that film.
right,
What different players their jobs were on the team,
yeah,
and
yeah,
pitchers and all this, and outfield players, and your first base, and I knew nothing about the game. Only looking television meant nothing to me. So that film, for anybody who has no interest in baseball or who knows nothing about it, Moneyball is a film for you. It's a
yeah,
very good film. It's a
yeah.
I thought it's a very good film, and it's actually a true story.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a true
So
story.
I actually watched it a couple of weeks ago. I got
Yeah,
it. I'd watched it before, and then I got it in my head for some reason that I wanted to watch it again, and I watched it again, and
yeah.
it was it was it was just terrific, But
Oh,
it's amazing, a good friend of mine that I worked with. Um,
yeah,
her son was a very good baseball player in high school and in college,
yeah.
and in club, and they would travel all around the country to these tournaments, big tournaments. And
Mm-hmm.
uh, our, the husband was always huge on the son being a home run hitter. That's the way you're going to get into the big leagues. You got to be a home run hitter. You
Yeah,
got to do that. And she was she was sitting watching the game one day that her son was playing in, and the husband was off somewhere else watching another game, and she saw these two guys that were there, and they were every time a kid would hit the ball or would run to try and steal a base and what have you, they had a stopwatch on him, right? And every player stopwatch, and they'd look and talk about it and what have you. So after a while, she got curious, and she said to the guy, she said, "Excuse me," she says, "Can't help but notice uh, that you're not really looking at players hitting the ball or home runs. You've got a stopwatch. What's that all about?" And the coach says, "Well, what we're doing is we're timing them how quickly they get on base." And she said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Because that's the stat we want to look at, is how quickly that we can get people on base and load bases. That's the important thing." He said,
yeah,
"But what about What about hitting the ball?" He said, "Well, we can teach people to hit. We can't teach people to be faster.
yeah,
So so
yeah,
it's the people getting on base that is the important thing." So the husband came back anyway, And he says, well, what have you taught them about? He says, oh, our son has got no chance of making it in the pros. That was the end of it.
Oh
So
yeah,
because he wasn't fast enough.
yeah, yeah. I know
Yeah,
a simple thing like that, and from the film Moneyball, that the fella came in to help Brad Pitt in the stats. You know,
yeah.
he was in that film as well, The Wolf of Wall Street. That actor, he was a sidekick to Leonardo DiCaprio. In,
Oh,
yeah, in The Wolf of Wall Street. It was very good film as well. But anyway,
yeah,
that's a different type of film. But Moneyball is probably one of the best sporting films that's around in recent times, Joe. You know?
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it
Yeah.
explains it explains to you, like just like you said, what is important. He can do this, he can do that. He'll get this viewer. So um,
I mean, they spent nearly a half an hour talking about a person that'll get to first base the quickest. They did that, and they just bought this player. And the coach that was there at the time, who didn't like the methods, he
right,
was saying he can't do anything else. And Brad Pitt turned to him and said, "We only want him to do that, nothing else. We just want him. He's the fastest to get to first base. We don't. We're not gonna. We're not gonna teach him to do anything else. You know, that's his job, and
yeah,
that's why we're buying him.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
it was just. I suppose the last great sporting film was Raging Bull with De Niro. That was Jake LaMotta
yeah,
was alive at the time. That they based the story on. And there's some great outtakes with Jake LaMotta and De Niro and having coffee. And Jake LaMotta said to De Niro, I don't even recognize myself in that film. And De Niro was looking at him like De Niro was superb, absolutely superb as Jake LaMotta.
yeah,
Superb. And that was the last good sporting film I liked. Didn't Richard Harris make a film back in the 60s?
yeah. The sporting life.
Just Sporting Life. What was he? Was he a bookie?
No, he was a
Yeah.
rugby league player.
Oh,
It was
a
in it,
rugby league there. Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it was set in the north of England.
Yeah, that's right. No, I have a distant memory of it. But it was a good film.
It
It
was
was.
a good film. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. It was a really good film. Yeah, and
Did
it
you?
showed you just what it was like in those days with
Mm,
the factory owner being the owner of the team.
yeah.
That's how sports started. Um, there was actually a real good series that was on uh, about football called the English Game, and it was set back in the days when football um, first started in the FA Cup and what have you, and it was actually uh, it was when some of the owners in the north, because the game was played in the north, but all the FA guys were down in London.
Yeah.
So, but you should, if you get a chance, you should see it. You should watch it. It really was a decent, a good series, a good watch. But it shows you how, you know, they start bringing players down from Scotland. That had
Yes.
the game in England back then was like only a throwaway from being rugby. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
there was a goalkeeper, and the rest of them attacked, and
Yeah.
all attacked. 10 of them attacked
Yeah. Yeah.
time. And then they started bringing down guys from Scotland that were a little bit more skilled, and they would
Technically.
give them, yeah, technical, and they'd give them jobs in the factories and what have you, and then they would play at the
Yeah.
they'd play the game and what have you. So it
Was
was,
that was that series on? Is that series on Netflix? Is it?
I think it is, yeah, I think it was on
It's
Netflix.
called The Game. Is it?
The English Game,
English Game. Let's have a look at that now. I'd be interested
yeah,
in that. The English
yeah,
Game. I like series like that.
yeah,
And, Yeah, it's interesting, all right, because I remember, I mean, the 70s, the local football match, say, in Aftersore, where we used to go mainly because we weren't far from there, they used to be, the build up would be all, the whole week to this
Yeah,
one match. The excitement of the game was incredible. I mean, from the time you got up that morning and went up, you would spend the whole day up there. We used to have our breakfast up there near the ground. I forget the name of the cafe. And then you'd have the crowds coming and the excitement all day building up to the game at 3 o'clock. It
yeah.
was just astonishing. I suppose we have so many tournaments and so many games that you have soccer nearly 3 or 4 nights a week on television,
Oh yeah, yeah.
on, on the box, as I say. And so therefore that's one of the downsides that takes away from the excitement.
It does. I mean, back in the old days, when before it became so common and popular on TV. I mean, we're oversaturated with it now.
Oh yeah.
I
I mean,
mean, it
it's
it
all
yeah. I mean, it just used to be the reputation of people. You know,
yes.
like
Yes.
I remember people coming to Limerick, um, to like Stanley Matthews coming to Limerick and
Yeah.
playing. I think he was at Stoke at the time,
Yeah.
and it was. I mean, it was a huge thing in the build up to it. I mean, and it was an afternoon kickoff because they were on tour over here, and we weren't able to go because we were all still in school. So we weren't able to go to it. But
Yeah.
it was,
Oh,
uh,
huge. I mean, I remember being in Turner's Cross to see George Best and Rodney Marsh playing for Cork Celtic.
yeah,
I mean, the the place was absolutely jammed packed to the gates.
yeah,
And the excitement of just seeing those players, and they could still do it. Like they had all the talents.
yeah,
Best was a genius.
yeah.
He could do anything with a football.
Oh, he could.
And playing in mud. That's
Yeah,
the thing, playing in mud. I mean,
and that's the thing with it. I read one the other day about when Bobby Charlton played for Waterford.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
he played. I think he played 3 or 4 matches for
Three,
Waterford.
3 games he played at that time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So, and it was it, you just on reputation alone, it used to pack the ground to
yeah.
see somebody playing because you'd never see them again. You might never.
No, no, probably not. Never again.
Yeah,
I mean, I did see Stan Bowles playing and people I did see Terry Venables. I want Terry Venables with QPR at home, was he?
it was QPR as well. Yeah,
He was,
Chelsea,
yeah, Terry Venables.
Tottenham, QPR.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of them playing. But I mean, as you said, they're all once off, and oh Jesus, just an incredible time. But
Yeah.
we have oversaturation of the game.
Oh,
I
we did.
think.
I
I
mean,
think.
you were lucky because you were in London, right?
Yeah.
But you could, within a very short
Oh,
space.
you go anywhere. Yeah,
Yeah, you could. I mean, you could find the game anywhere in there.
anywhere.
But the likes of us, the Markets Field, when you had the likes of Johnny Fulham playing for Shamrock Rovers, and they'd come down, and you Frank O'Neill, and
Yeah.
then Alfie Hill, Watford, and you had those guys, and
Johnny
then
was, yeah.
Cousy and Hibbs, and the, to see those guys, I mean, I remember the Watford team with Alfie Hill, Jimmy McGill, Johnny
Yeah,
Matthews,
that's it, yeah.
Peter Thomas. I mean, you hated them because they were winning the league, and
They were
Limerick,
so good. They were so good.
they were very good, and Limerick were vying for them for the league and the cup, but we could never get over that hurdle to catch them. But the place was chock a block when
Oh, sure. I
they,
remember. I remember the Sunday they beat Cork Hibs and Flower Lodge to win the league, and Hibs went into a 2-0 lead, and we were singing at the top of our lungs. Uh, Tony Marsden was playing. Tony Marsden was from Doncaster. He was an absolute bull of a man. Battle chested, big, strong up front, and that day. And Tony Marsden is the master in the air. We were singing all these goals in the head. Next thing, um, Waterford scored, and it was 2-1. I mean, it was late in the second half. Then they got a penalty. Oh my God! But I thought the ground would just. I thought the gates and everything would be thrown down. 2-2 they made it then. Now they had to win the game to win the league, and they did. They got the third goal, which was just fantastic. They had a fabulous team. That I must hand it to them. Waterford.
Oh
Waterford.
they were a very good team. Yeah,
Just superb,
yeah,
superb,
yeah.
and we never built on that. This all those occasions should be used as building blocks, to raise up the standard. For instance, in Shamrock Rovers now in Tallaght Stadium, and there's a big development going on now in Dalymount Park, and hopefully with Shelbourne as well. They've applied for planning permission, so they're going to, all these things will help the game in the country. The
Oh yeah,
facilities will be brought up to 21st century level. But
yeah.
I mean, but there's a lot of investment going into Irish soccer now, club wise as well.
Well,
And
there seems to be some overseas investment in it. I mean,
yeah,
there's the fella that's down in Kerry. Is he down in Kerry now? He was at Dundalk.
yeah, Kerry FC have been superb. They got another draw over the weekend in the league, so their first year in senior soccer. The Bohemians only beat him in the quarterfinal of the cup on penalties, and
Right.
I mean, really, that was just a mark of what they've achieved in their first year. But they had laid the foundations for soccer in Kerry long, long ago, well before this year. Well, last year when they entered the league, they had Tralee Dynamos and a few more there, Killarney Celtic. They had a few more strongholds, and Castle Island, which the FAI did invest in their grounds and their facilities. John Delaney was the second time. Delaney Park, I think one of them is called in Castle Island. They called it after John Delaney.
Yeah, there you go.
He did,
Yeah,
he did a lot of good as well, in fairness to the man.
yeah. Well, he did put a lot back into the youth side of it and developing pitches and
Yes,
what have
yes.
you. So,
Yeah,
or
he
what
did.
pitches. So, yeah.
But
But
we're getting back to our Premiership. I mean, Liverpool had a workman-like performance over the weekend. They won.
yeah,
Uh, they won well. And as I said, West Ham had a good win. Fulham won. Spurs won. Forest won. They all won. Leicester City. Who were Leicester City playing? I forget now.
Leicester played. Oh, hang on a second. It'll come to me in a minute.
I forget now. But um, and Fulham won. But I mean, they'll be out this week as well. But next Sunday we'll have Liverpool and Man United at
Yeah.
4 o'clock next Sunday. That's in Anfield, is it?
I think it is at Anfield.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
should be 3 or 4 nil to Fulham to Liverpool.
Yeah.
I seriously think that United won't keep Ten Hag up to Christmas.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
These guys seem to have a better a
I
more
mean,
a more
I'll
sense.
ask you I'll ask you another question. Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, Brighton. Would United beat them?
Well, United didn't beat Brighton at the weekend, so
I mean, but would they
yeah.
beat them now in the morning? You wouldn't put your money on to beat.
I mean, the thing is that they're going to get better, without a doubt, So I think that they're going to be all right. They've got a lot of good young players. They've bought well, so
They have a few terrific players.
yeah,
Maidu and a few more of them. They're good.
yeah.
They're good. I agree with you there. They
It's
are
going to
good.
be interesting. You know what's going to be really interesting this year in the Premiership to watch is I don't know if you saw it yesterday, but the Ipswich goalkeeper gets robbed, and the Everton goalkeeper gets robbed trying to play the ball out the back, dribbling
Yeah,
out the back. Now they're all starting to put pressure on goalkeepers, and it was only a matter of time before they came up with the tactic of attacking the goalkeeper while he's in possession.
yeah.
And I'm telling you that this is going to become something that is going to be.
I don't understand it, Joe, when the goalkeeper is starting play again and they put on the ball to kick it out. He's two full backs on each side of him.
Yeah,
So he's expected to to pass the ball 5 yards instead of 55 yards.
yeah.
I mean, I don't get it.
Well, I don't. I mean, I understand what they're trying to do and what have you, but it's like everything else, you know. I mean, you go with the there's a new tactic comes out, right?
Yeah.
So it's the goalkeeper now. We have to play out the back. We have to do this. We have to do that. Well, that's all well and good till you start losing games, you know. And it might be attractive, but it's not what people want. I mean, it's it's very very difficult to go 100 yards from one end of the field to the other, passing the ball without.
Except you're a Brazilian team of the
But
1970s. Yeah,
you know, and even they had their issues with it, but
yeah, yeah.
it's just going to be really interesting to see how long this tactic stays around. Because
And Palmer's goal was typical of that,
yeah,
where the goalkeeper was nowhere.
yeah, and I mean, you know, you watched the. I don't know if you watched the Newcastle game, but
I did. I saw a bit of it. I didn't see that
yeah.
one.
Well, the first goal there, Joe Linton gets robbed, and I mean he's a field player, but he gets robbed in the last third of his own part of the field, and they go through and score. You know, and it's just I just wonder how long it's going to keep going like that. Because now, like I said, people are developing tactics that they're putting people under pressure immediately, and they're that's what's going to happen. They're not going to drop off anymore. They're going to put pressure higher up the field, and
And
it, there's going to be a lot of goalkeepers look embarrassed this year.
you have very fast players as well, quick players,
Oh, yeah,
who close you down immediately,
yeah.
And it is something that struck me over the weekend. All right, there's more and more of that going on. But we had my one of my favorite players in golf over the weekend, Lydia Ko, fresh from her gold medal winning performance in the Olympics. She came from behind to win the Women's Open up in St Andrews in Scotland, the home of golf, as they say. And she finished at -7. She did 71, 70, 71, 69. They may not sound impressive, but there's wind and rain for nearly the whole weekend up there, and howling wind and rain has been in. So, and then she's not a very strong physical person, but she's a beautiful striker of the ball, and really, I thought it was very merited. I saw most of that golf over the weekend. Nelly Corda finished at -5. See, they're not used to links golf, Joe.
No, they're not.
You know,
And but the irony of the whole thing, right, is that there were the top five, right? Um, the there was two Americans,
yeah,
Chinese
Australia,
girl,
yeah,
South African girl,
yeah,
and was it a Japanese girl? Was the
yes.
fifth one? And yeah, no Europeans in it, which surprised me.
Well, Charlie Hull was challenging on the Saturday, but she fell away on the Sunday. That's Charlie Hull. Well, I was surprised with because she'd be well used to links. And our own Leonie Maguire finished the tournament very disappointing on a final round of 76 at 4 over 72, 72, 71, and 76. And she would be well used to links golf in the wind and rain from where she
Mhm.
comes from here in Ireland. But there you go. It's a very testing course. The Solheim Cup will be on the next big thing for the women, and they're finalising the team this week in the Solheim Cup. But Leonie Maguire is on the team anyway because of her ranking in the world ranking. So she's in the team anyway. That's some good news. But a lot of very good golfers were nowhere. Lexi Thompson, Lynn Grant from Sweden. A lot of the Swedish golfers were found it tough going as well up there. But anyway, they won that. Over in the BMW in Colorado, Keegan Bradley, the Ryder Cup captain, he won. I mean, that to me is the story of the weekend in golf. Like, I mean,
Oh, it was unbelievable. I mean,
he said, I'm determined to play myself on the team when he was appointed captain. You know? Can you just imagine it? Like,
yeah.
I mean,
So that
yeah,
was, I watched that. That was great.
yeah, I was delighted. He's 66, 68, 70, and 72. Shane Lowry had a good tournament. He finished at -5. The first round, he had a 75. Did he had a 67 or 17, 71. So the first round really put him on back foot for the whole tournament.
Yeah.
But he had a good tournament. That's Shane Lowry. I think he won about 150 grand. So, I mean, I wouldn't feel one bit sorry for the man. But he deserved it. And the French dominated the Danish Open on the European Tour. And they were first and second and fourth French golfers. And your man was Frédéric Lacroix. But there you go. I should be able to pronounce his name properly, but Lacroix. The X is silent. I don't know why they use the X. Why did they use letters in your name? You know, like, do you remember Joe? You grew up. Do you remember the Gatto Swiss rolls?
Yeah.
X.
Oh, yeah. And what about Formula One? We finally got a race.
The Formula One. I think Lando Norris is the new man.
Yeah.
I think he proved himself at the Dutch Grand Prix. Norris was first, Verstappen and Leclerc, and now in the race for the title, Verstappen has 295 points, and Lando Norris has 225, and Leclerc is third at 192. Norris is challenging for the title. I mean, we were depressed when the first 5 Grand Prix were won by, or the first 4 or 5 Grand Prix were won by Verstappen, but it seems that the other cars are catching up, have caught up.
Yeah.
And so, that's another Grand Prix that he didn't win. I mean,
yeah.
I think Lewis Hamilton finished 8th, I think, in that Grand Prix, but it was a good watch for a change. It was a good watch because, it was, as we mentioned here, people were losing interest in it.
Yeah.
And these things are very expensive to go to, I didn't look up the agenda for the week in soccer-wise, but there's the second legs of the European playoffs in place. And Shamrock Rovers, as a result of their away match, they lost 4-0. So they're out of the picture. St. Pat's, who's taken over by Stephen Kenny, have them well organised. They got a 0-0 home draw at home, so they'll be buoyed up for the away match because, I mean, if they win, it's worth €3 million to their bank balance, which in a League of Ireland club is a lot of money, A lot of, and there's a good investment going into Irish soccer, which I'm delighted to see. Anyway, Joe, we have another Monday over to the 6th of August. My goodness. When we'll be here the next time, it'll be September, will it? Where, as the old song says, where's the time goes? Where does the time go?
I tell you, it's so. Do you have a bank holiday next weekend?
God, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
Okay. So
I think we might have. I'm not too sure now. Not too sure of that now. I'll have to look it up. But sure, every day to me is a bank holiday.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it.
In one day. Anyway, from this edition of SportsView, lads, and all the people who take the time to look at the show, we really, really appreciate it, because it's only up 4 or 5 nights to view, and we have a regular 1,500 on Facebook alone, 1,500 views, Joe, if people look at it on Facebook alone for a week, which is astonishing, and we're appreciated.
Yeah.
And you can contact us anytime at Atlantis@gmail.com or text me. Your phone number is there. Feel free to do so. And we'll listen to you and we'll talk to you if you're interested. Okay, so from this edition, from Joe Waters over there in sunny USA, from Joe Waters till we meet again, lads. Have a good sporting week and take care. Good
Take
night.
care.
Good luck
Yeah.
now.